What's going on, Park Hoppin? This is Jay. It's early. It's early here. You can see the sun is back there. Usually, when I record videos, all right. Anyway, but wanted to get this out. Got a fun week with Park Hoppin this week. Some surprises. Some surprises. It's gonna be kind of cool. But California threw out some more of their guidelines. Maybe they were already out. I'm not sure. But this article was released with several others about the theme parks reopening. And let's just go through them real quick because I want to know when I can get out to Cali and go to some of these theme parks over there and do like a quick tour. I'd love to do a whole tour over there. It says theme parks can reopen with indoor rides, but lines must be outdoors. Makes I don't know how that works. Like if they pulled that in Florida, if they pulled that one in Florida, especially Universal and everything Harry Potter, most of the lines are inside. A little bit of outside, but a lot inside. Why? Because it's hot. They don't want people standing out in the sun. They don't want people cooking because sometimes these lines you could be waiting 3 hours or more. So that's why they do that. So very interesting how they're gonna pull that off. We do know Disneyland is scheduled to open at the very end of April, and Universal has said, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, here it is. Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park plan to open April 30th. Only Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia has announced plans to open Thursday. Interesting. Universal Studios plans to open in late April. So we'll see it. We'll see how that goes. I guess they just got to get open. It's been over a year. A year. Figure that one out. Let's go over some of the guidelines. Parks must create a weekly virus testing program for workers. Dang, could you imagine? I couldn't imagine that. Like once a week, they got to shove that thing up your nose so you can get tested just to work for minimum wage or a little bit more than minimum wage. That's rough. That's rough. Face coverings must be worn at all times by workers and guests, except when eating or drinking. Yeah, that's here. Performers who cannot wear a mask in the park must remain at least 6 feet away from. Yeah, that's like people wearing. It's so weird. Like people in, I guess, costume things like that. Can't wear a mask, or some people do have something going on where they can't wear a mask. It enables them to breathe, so they just got to stay away from everyone. Indoor rides are limited to no more than 15 minutes in duration. Wow. So if you have a ride, if you have an experience, well, that's Galaxy's Edge is done. Number one, all the lines are inside. Rise of the Resistance experience is more than 15 minutes. I believe that's what that means. A lot of the experiences at Universal is like, I guess they consider right when you walk in, like you walk in and you watch a movie, you go through this little part here, you go, I guess all that's part of the experience. So that takes out a lot of stuff in some of these bigger theme parks. Man, lines must be outdoors and guests from different households must stand 6 feet apart. We still have social distancing in lines, but everywhere else, people are like, whatever. Attractions must be closed if there's a higher number of riders losing face masks during the ride. And that's like one person to ruin it for all. You know, they put their mask on and it's not, it's their own. They got an old one or something and it just snaps. They're like, oh, face mask came off during the ride. Shut it down. Mm. Face coverings must be offered to riders who lose their cover. Okay, we have that here. Eating and drinking will be allowed only in designated areas, not in queues or lines. Wow. The guidelines not allow that allow indoor rides to reopen signal good news for Disneyland and Universal Hollywoods, where many of the most popular rides transport visitors from into indoor structures with 3D visual effects and animatronics. Yep. Harry Potter, Forbidden Journey, Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm, mm, mm. I don't know why. It says signal good news. It's interesting how they're going to work this. When Disney World Open, it was like face coverings, and then they really tightened down what kind of mask you had to wear. Universal's a little more lax. Legoland is like have fun, pretty much. I mean, you still have to wear a mask or a neck gaiter when you're riding the ride. But a handful of their other indoor rides last longer than 15 minutes, violating the state's new rules. Yep, that's what I said. Rise of the Resistance. Galaxy's Edge is done. Um, it's just gonna be weird. I do expect a lot of people to go, and just because they want to get out of the house. If you've been in lockdown for like a year, like California has been, they finally said you can go to a theme park. I really have a feeling that people will just want to go, whether they can ride something or not. When Florida opened, it was interesting because they opened really early. Like we opened in June of last year, while a lot of the country was still on stay in your home lockdown. And while we were open in June, so people were still like kind of afraid to go out to the parks and afraid to kind of walk around. So they were just kind of like waiting for us testers to go first. So last year, summer, uh, you guys seen the video? We got all the documentation there on videos where it was just so empty, unbelievably empty. I wonder how. I just have a feeling this is going to be different. I have a feeling when this is open that they're not going to be able to contain themselves because now that people are flying into Florida to go to parks and flying into other places that are open because they're just like, I got to get out of the house, man. I got to get out of the house. The only other issue is only in-state visitors will be allowed. Visiting groups cannot include members of more of three in the household. Yeah. Basically, you got to have a California resident identification to make this work. I mean, it's a start. I'm just comparing it to what I see in Florida. Universal Studios opened up first, and it was a lot of questions and a lot of revamping to what we have now. And then it's weird when they first opened, they were like testing a lot of stuff here and there. Everything was being tested, and then they finally got like a nice rhythm. And then when the sanctions started lifting, they started to change things a little bit. Disney was a little more tighter. Um, but as things began to lift, things being lifted, and they're just keeping some things the same, like reservations and stuff like that. So anyway, those are the guidelines. If you're from California, what do you think? Is it worth going? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section below. It's Jay with Park Hoppin. Catch you next time.